The dust has settled from the age of sorcery, and day by day Kurak's cult grows stronger. With Chapter 2 now settling in, how does this update shape up? Today we'll be reviewing the Age of Sorcery Chapter 2 update. You guys did seem to enjoy the last review, so I'll be trying to do these reviews for every major update Conan receives. So without further ado, let's get started. The Chapter 2 update ships with 4 main features: headhunting, witch hunts, the pet companion rebalance, and of course new items for the battle pass and the bazaar. It is important to keep in mind that Funcom said that the first chapter of each age will always be the biggest update, so we're not expecting to see sorcery level content updates every 3 months. Because of that, this review will be adjusted accordingly. As the flagship feature, Headhunter is a new limited time event in which we have to deliver sorcerers, dead or alive, to various groups of Khitan mercenaries across the exiled lands and the Isle of Siptar. This activity rewards a bunch of valuable resources alongside Ancient Obelisk, a gameplay-only currency you can use to buy legendary items, resources, thralls, and the new Mad Prophet armor set from those same mercenaries. As a mechanic, Headhunter is pretty simple. Gather an item, deliver it, get rewards. It's ended up being quite powerful, offering substantial quantities of alchemical base, silver, steel fire, and demon blood. The rewards you purchase with Obelisk are also pretty powerful, making the mid-game much easier. As a limited time event, it feels kinda strange. On one hand, it seems weird to have an event like this be limited time, as it will go away when Chapter 3 launches next year. However, as a narrative tool, it does kinda make sense. The mercenaries tie deeply into the new story beats of Mech Kamoses trying to learn more about the sorceries of Kurak, so it makes sense that these mercenaries won't hang around forever once Mech's research is complete. Overall, I'd say the Headhunter event is pretty fun. It's not a massive feature, it is quite simple in execution, but it works well and gives a repeatable gameplay loop you can interact with to earn some decent rewards. It gives you a good boost in resources, making it definitely worth your time, and if you enjoy the new approach Funcom are taking with the evolving story progressing through the Age of Sorcery, then you'll probably like the story implications of this mechanic. Witch hunts are a new type of encounter added to the roster that began in Chapter 1. There are a total of 4 witch hunts, and the encounter sees us hunt down and slay powerful sorcerers. The environmental design in all of these hunts are impeccable, transforming normal areas of the map into dark realms of sorcerous power. The witch hunts themselves aren't terribly difficult. It was stated in the dev stream that the targeted difficulty was around the Iron or Steel Age, so these fights are pretty straightforward. Fight the adds, break the defences, kill the sorcerer. The rewards are suitable, offering some resources and some pieces of gear, but nothing too special. For the difficulty they're targeted for, it's probably suitable. The best reward are the Magi Skulls, which you can hand into the Khitan mercenaries for a ton of Ancient Obelisk. It's also worth noting I have seen some scattered reports of witch hunts being glitched and not showing up properly. Personally, I've run into 1 or 2, but that has been on single player, and I can't comment on the experience on official or unofficial servers. I'm not yet sure if this has been fixed, or if it's just sort of a confirmation bias thing where people aren't seeing it as much as they expect to, but it's something that's worth considering and something that Funcom are hopefully keeping an eye on if it is indeed broken. As an encounter, witch hunts are pretty middle of the pack. They do a great job of showing the scale and power of sorcery by others, which is very cool, but I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to chase down these encounters. That being said, when Headhunter times out next chapter, I imagine the Mad Prophet armor set recipe will probably be added to the witch hunt loot pool, which would help to keep them relevant. Overall, a comfortable early to mid-game encounter that isn't trying to do too much. Witch hunts fit into the game nicely. The pet rebalancing is going to be a bit tough for me to gauge, as I personally don't really play with followers, so therefore I'll have to kind of judge it by the intention of what this patch is trying to do. Funcom have decided to rebalance pets in an attempt to normalise their power levels and bring them to a power level just below human followers, as pets are easier to get, which does sound a bit more common sense. Generally speaking, weaker pets like gorillas have been buffed, and strong ones like yakiths have been nerfed. Again, when I've played survival, I haven't really played with followers, it's just not my sort of thing, and I haven't actually heard much about what people think about this change, so do feel free to let me know in the comments below. To me, it does sound common sense, but those who play with pets regularly might have a more informed opinion on this aspect. Of course, with a new update comes a new battle pass and new additions to the Bazaar. The battle pass follows the same format, 60 tiers of rewards at a price point of 1200 Crom coins, and you get those 1200 Crom coins back upon near completion of the pass. The rewards are alright, there is a bit too much of the same thing, and I think the value of the pass will really depend on what sort of player you are and what sort of rewards you like, but if you're getting this for free for completing the last Battle Pass, then it's an alright amount of content. In terms of being worth $10 worth of Crom Coins, I'd say it's very much on the fine line of being worth it and not worth it. The Black Lotus Bazaar gets two main features, the Maze Placeable set and the Stormglass Cathedral set, coming in at 1,000 and 1,200 Crom Coins respectively. Both are very nice, though I would say the Maze set is a bit overpriced. Stormglass Cathedral is a weird one, as it's designed to complement another DLC set. If you already have that DLC set, then Stormglass Cathedral is a top tier building set. However, if you really wanted to get into Stormglass, you'd be looking at dropping $10 on the Stormglass Cathedral set and $20 on the Siptar DLC, which is a bit steep, although arguably you do get a lot of content for that $20 for the Siptar set. There's a bunch of new other stuff in the Bazaar too, like Aquilonian Placeables, a Khitan Mercenary armor set, wall vines and some other stuff, though again, the Maze and Stormglass sets are the main attractions. These new additions are alright. The pricing is a bit fairer than Sandstone Timber, and Funcom aren't splitting up building sets anymore, which is good to see. The quality of the Stormglass set is unreal, but the Maze set is a little too expensive for what you get. We all know we're going to end up paying more for less compared to the traditional DLC system, which is to be expected given that, well, from my perspective, the DLC system couldn't sustain Conan anymore. But I think the Maze set could have been comfortably placed at around 500 or 600 Crom Coins rather than the 1,000 it's currently at. That being said, if you're a role player or an avid builder, you will probably get your money's worth out of that Maze set. Overall, the new microtransactions aren't too bad, but again, there is room for improvement. Finally, there's also the usual batch of bug fixes, tweaks and adjustments. The notable ones are fixes to a large number of crashes and stability issues, numerous smaller improvements to the building system, optimizations to how Sorcery behave, and the addition of a time-restricted PvP option to stop offline raiding if that's something you wanted on your server. The bug fixes and adjustments are generally always filled with some welcome additions. There is nothing too major here, but constantly targeting the issues causing crashes, performance drops and stability issues are always good to see. So in the totality of all things considered, where does the Age of Sorcery Chapter 2 update fall? I really don't want to compare it to the Age of Sorcery Chapter 1, given how that update was designed to be much larger than this one, but I think we can still make a fair estimation. Considering the quality of Headhunter and the witch hunts, the concept behind the pet rebalancing, and the quality and value of the new Bazaar items and the Battle Pass, I'm giving the Age of Sorcery Chapter 2 a 6.5 out of 10. I've mentioned before that my scale starts at 5 and goes up or down based on negatives and positives, so I would still say that Chapter 2 is a good update, but I do feel the update is a bit lacking in playable content. Headhunter is fun as a flagship feature, but being a limited time event leaves me feeling a bit undecided on how I actually feel about it, seeing as it will disappear early next year. The actual event itself is fine, but the limited nature is a bit of a weird one. I think once the Age of Sorcery comes to a close at the end of Chapter 3, it'll be easier to get kind of a retrospective of how those limited time events have played into the story. In terms of lore interaction, I do think the Headhunter event is really good. Witch hunts are alright too, but I think these could have easily been targeted at endgame players instead, or at least maybe like sort of a sliding difficulty between where they are in the map, seeing as the endgame does, in my opinion, need some more content. It would also be more fitting of how powerful sorcerers can become, but then again, I wouldn't necessarily say that encounters are the best way to introduce new endgame content, so I can see the reason of accessibility for targeting these at the mid-level. The Battle Pass is fairly middle ground for me. Not as good as the Chapter 1 pass, but not terrible. I just really want to see fillers like consumable potions removed in the future, as I feel they cheapen the experience a bit, even as a free reward. I do think the pricing of the Stormglass set in the Bazaar is reasonable, especially considering how high quality the new set is. Your experience of the Stormglass Cathedral set may be soured if you don't have the Siptar DLC, which is something to consider, but for me it was worth it, and for you that might be different. The Maze set is a little overpriced, and I do think the Bazaar does need some extra adjustments, because I am still seeing stuff in there that I do think is quite overpriced, so I would like to see those brought down again. I do feel like we're still kind of in the process of working out the kinks and the finer intricacies of how this system will work. Now some will probably say I'm giving too much slack to Funcom, but I imagine transitioning into a 3-month rolling development window is easier said than done on the game development side. I am excited to see how the story of this age concludes in Chapter 3 next year, and of course I'll be covering that update with an in-depth review when the time comes. Thanks for watching, and as always, feel free to have your say about the Chapter 2 update, good or bad, in the comments below. This review is just my opinion, and I'm sure there are a wealth of other takes out there. If you enjoy my content, all the links to my Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Patreon, Host Havoc affiliate page, NordVPN discount and NordPass discount are available in the description below. However, of course, you can simply just leave a like, a comment or subscribe. Any of those are very greatly appreciated. Patrons get a bunch of nice benefits, including sneak peeks of videos, your name in every video, custom made wallpapers in 1080p and 4K resolutions, full-size build blueprints, Discord roles and more. That being said, a massive thanks to all of our esteemed coffee cultists on screen now for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. Again, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.